Now you need the astrologer. The astrologer in you now has to step forward and start using your astrological knowledge. Here we have a chart, we have his life, and put the transits up. We can look to see when he gets the transits as to what's happening. So you could look at, even if an event's turned off, which health problems was, we still have it on this list. So give it to me. So even if I've got vague dates and year dates and dates turned off, it'll put all of them here, unless I turn this on. And then it makes just the dates you've used. But I like to have them all there. I want to see them all. So his son was born, Neptune, Mars, Jupiter going over the ascendant. His mother's death, and you're getting here Jupiter conjunct Neptune, Chiron opposing Saturn. And you can see, right, what's going on here. The red means it's retrograde. We can look at those. What was his secondary progressions doing when his mother died? The progressed Venus square the natal Mars. The progressed moon going through the 4th house. The progressed Mars in the 8th. The progressed ascendant going down here onto the moon. Can you see that? What were the solar arcs going on when his mother died? The moon was square Jupiter. Look at that, the Saturn opposing the Neptune. This is solar arc, the node opposing the moon. Now you see some of those are relevant for his birth time and some are not. And what you've got to do as an astrologer is you've got to think, well, what ones are relevant for the birth time? What's it telling me? Now what I do, and it's not a quick procedure, is what I do is I will look at each one of those, that short list in this module here, looking at transits, solar arc and progressions and getting and going backwards and forwards. It'll give me what's going on up there. I can also type a date in here and I say, well, you know, I haven't got it in my list here. It's not there, but I want to check something else, so I can say the 1st of the 1st, 1920. If I just click that date, there's the planetary positions around the outside for that date. So even if I haven't got it there, I can enter it in there. Another thing you can do is you can adjust the chart a little bit here. Once again, you can tweak it. Because, you know, you're working, you think, oh, it needs to be another half a degree. You know, I just need to push it. So you can tweak it here and adjust it. And then this is a fun thing. Hang on to your hat. These are the transits running around the outside. And here's the dates going. We can stop it. We can step it. It's stepping a week at a time. We can run it backwards. And that's slow. When we first did this, it used to take forever. But as computers got faster, we had to actually put dampeners in it to slow it down, because it was sort of going, woof! Right? And that's really fascinating if you have your own chart in there, to watch your progressions move, for example. Let's watch his progressions move. Here's a little. Here it comes, over the ascendant, 1921, 22. It's just moving. And we can make this faster. This is the fast pedal. As your life rushes before your eyes. I tell you, when it's your own chart, it really can be worrying. Right? Stop that.
Oh dear.
All right, so this is the rectification module in Jigsaw. I mean, to be honest, that alone, I think it's incredibly, it's wonderful. I think it's great. Okay, hello again. This is Bernadette chipping in again to the workshop, just to add more detail here, because we've got more time. In the workshop we had to cover the whole of Jigsaw in one day, which is almost impossible. What we've got with this remarkable screen called the dynamic chart screen is we can actually put a chart into this screen from this test screen. You see, we can go back and forth selecting the different charts, or we can also quit this and we've got our list here. We can work from this screen and go into charts, so we can get in there either way. What we actually have is we have a chart put up which will be the angles which we're testing for, and all the life events down here, which I was talking about in the workshop. Now, there's no way that we can really divide this up further without engaging you as the astrologer. Jigsaw, as I said in the workshop, has done as much as it can by sheer number crunching, and now we have to engage a more qualitative type of thinking. So it's a matter of you looking at the chart, the possible birth chart. It's a matter of you checking it for transits, looking at the different transits that have happened at the different times. This screen will help you. First lecture in astrology, Neptune conjunct Jupiter. This is his chart, by the way. He joined the long-term Irish civil service, Saturn square Mercury. That would have been happening for any of his charts, but that's interesting because it confirms to you that your chart is alive, it's working well. When he formed the Astrological Association, we have Saturn square Neptune, health problems, which was a date which was switched off, but we've got it on here. These are the configurations for his health problems. We can look at them in transits, we can look at them in secondary progressions, we can see here, we can actually look at them in solar arc directions and start to see possible different configurations for the health problems. We can use this screen to engage ourselves as an astrologer, to look at what was happening by transits, progressions, tertiaries, if you want to use them, they're there, and solar arc for any given event that your client has given you that they think is important in their life. And you can just see the different relationships, the dynamic directions are having to the natal chart. This key, which I referred to briefly in the workshop, the adjust key, is really important because you really can just tweak a chart a little bit to see if you can get a better fit. Okay, by working through each one of these possible sets of angles for Fagin, you then can make a judgment call onto what you think is the birth time, which is not only mathematically being supported by transits, progressions, solar arc, etc., but also symbolically being represented, because that's what you're doing at this stage. We've got a short list of 4, now we have to symbolically see which one is working. And you have to make that judgment call. You may want to keep a note of all of the possible angles you're working with, or if you're doing it for a client's chart, you may want to actually have a look and suggest to them that this is the one you think it is, recognizing that there are those other sensitive points in their horoscope. Also, what you're finding is you're not finding out their true birth time. It's lovely to think if we could, but you're not necessarily finding out that. What you're finding out is a rectified time. In other words, you're finding a chart, a horoscope for that person, which is supported by their history. It may not be, and you will never know, if it is their actual true birth chart. Maybe their true birth chart is an exact flip of the angles or something like that. But it is a chart which is supported mathematically and astrologically by their history. And that's really as much as we can do. So that's important to understand this philosophy of rectification. All right, let's just use this now to summarize what we have been doing with rectification. If we quit all the way out of this, we get back to it. What you're first doing is that you are putting in the dates that are relevant for a person's life. And the sort of dates you want are the sort of dates which are going to support the angles. In other words, you're looking for the angles. So you don't want to put into Jigsaw a whole lot of dates about spiritual experiences. You want to put into Jigsaw dates which are about MC, which is job changes, status changes, marriage, divorce, becoming a parent, etc. are all ways we change our status in the world. You want to put in IC type dates, moving house and home, birth of siblings, that's people coming into your home. All dates should be after you're born, after the client's born. You don't want to put in dates before the person's born. We won't get into that philosophical pot of snakes or intrigue. So all dates, if you've got older siblings, don't put them in. Younger siblings, put them in. And all of these dates, if you look at them, they're all relating to an angle. The ascendant, the environment, the physical health, the well-being,
accidents, your physical body, etc., name changes, etc., all are ascendant type dates. Descendant dates, marriages, business alliances, divorces, breaking up of business cases, partnerships, legal cases, court cases, etc., all 7th house dates. Remember, always remember, in rectification, you are looking for the angles. So therefore, you want to skim through the life and collect the dates which are angular type dates. So we're not looking at when you had a powerful dream. We're looking at when you've gone and changed something in your life as a result of that powerful dream, that type of thinking. Once you've collected all the dates, get them into Jigsaw, remembering you've got date ranges, and remembering a vague date is better than an inaccurate, accurate date. It's better to have less data but it being accurate than more data and it being inaccurate. Once you have the dates, click OK, save your file, etc. Then go to rectification. Roy was saying in the workshop he just wants to push auto rectify, run it, and then run it from there. I don't like doing that, but you can. That's a shortcut, but then you actually have to eliminate things and so on. I like to take it through. I like to see the graphs. I like to see what's going on. So I like to click manual rectify to get these graphs. Play with these graphs. Here's your options. Change what you're seeing in each graph, and particularly look at the different ways that, for example, your chart responds to transits. Let's just look at Cyril Fagan's Mercury. Mercury is ruling his rising sign, so Mercury is the ruler of his chart. So what is it doing? Here it is here. It's picking up to his angles. Not picking up to the 8, but picking up to here. So that's the look of Mercury. We can do that with any of the planets. We can do it with Venus, and so on. So play around with the graphs. And when you're looking at these graphs for rectification, while you're learning, stick with these top two. And you're looking for a graph that actually has got at least one kindred solid connected peak. And you see here, this peak here between 8, 9 and 10 in the heliocentric is also matching here in the geocentric, and that's pay dirt. That's really interesting. That's enough to do a match. If you're not getting a match like that, go back to your events. Rearrange the ones you've turned off. Have a look at your events. Try turning them on and off in different sequences and see if you get a tighter graph or a better graph. Keep tweaking these dates, turning ones that are close, making another choice and turning the other one off to see if you can get the resulting graph being a slightly better overlap. What you're looking, remember, is you're looking for at least one common peak, and in here we've got it with Cyril Fagan here, this here. So you're looking for that. That's the key thing you're looking for. Once you've got that, then go on to your next screen, which for me, I always work with these two graphs, get the overlap, and then I go select. Once I've got this, Jigsaw is going to try and show me these common peaks. I can, as I showed you in the workshop, override this, select other peaks. I want it to include that because I'm suspicious of that. I'm interested in that. I want to include this because I'm suspicious of that. I want to include that on the list. Add them in, scan for angles, get a long list. So I want to do that. I want to see what's going in. Now, we'll clear that and get back to auto select and scan for angles. Once you've got your list and you've got your peaks that you think that you're happy with, this gives you this list straight out from the celestial geometry. Then you can, as I said, you can go in and you can test them manually, looking to see what is happening for each one. And that's a very good process to give you an understanding of what's going on. Or you can go straight in to this testing the whole thing here. Once you've done that, once you've played around with all these possible angles and got a feel for it, then that's when I like to go into this screen and then get rid of the ones which really you know are just not showing up, are just not working, and you just delete those off and get rid of them. I'm just doing this from memory now, so I'm probably deleting some wrong ones, but you get a short list. So slowly as you work through them, you think, yeah, that one's definitely not working, get rid of it, you can eliminate it. It's up to you to work out how you're going to work with this. Once you've got a short list, maybe 4, 3, 4, 5, in a sense you're looking at your best possible 4 to 5 or even 6 sets of angles which are giving you the best possible results. Once you've got that, then this is the important button, the chart button. This enables you to do the qualitative looking for the symbolic mix. Click on that, click on each one, go through each one and look at every single event in the person's life, every single event, making notes if you want to, adjusting if you need to, and slowly working through each of the 4. And what will actually happen for you, and sometimes you have to go away and leave it for a while and then come back, but what will happen for you is you'll start to get an idea of which is the one which is not only mathematically supported by the person's history, but also qualitatively, symbolically supported for their history. Rectification is not a fast process. Jigsaw is not a magic pill. The auto-rectifier is there to help you, but not to eliminate you from thinking. The whole idea is that Jigsaw's rectification module is a set of amazing tools that enable you to engage your astrological mind and test a set of angles through various options, and to try and do it in a way that Jigsaw does all the hack work for you, trying to reduce it down to just a few options so you can then step in as the astrologer and look at it, look at houses, look at rulerships, look at the whole layout of the chart and see, is this chart matching the story of this person, and is it being reflective of their life history? But that part no machine could ever do, because if a machine could do that, if a computer program could do that, then you, the person's life, would be a machine, and life is far, far more complicated than that. So what I recommend that you do for rectification is put your own life in and play with it. You know your time of birth, hopefully. Put your own life in and just see what it comes up. See what decisions you have to make to get Jigsaw to give you that birth time, because that's going to teach you about the angular dates in your life, etc. So that's a really good exercise. And one more important point. Remember, never put your birth date, never put the birth date in this list. Don't put the birth date there. Remember that one. That's important. Your birth details go in here. And this is also where you can change the range. If Cyril came to us and said, look, I was born around between mid-morning and mid-afternoon, then we could say, all right, between 10:30 and we can change this to 3:30 p.m. We could say that. We could say okay. We could then do the rectification, as I've said. And look, we only have 2 possible options. One is his birth time and one is a time later. So that also makes your job considerably easier. So it's important to ask a person if they know anything at all about their birth time. Whatever time they give you, always broaden it a little bit just to make sure that you've got the right scan. Okay, good luck with your rectification. It's not a short process, it's a long process. It takes skill, it takes patience, but the learning curve can be intriguing, because the things you'll find out about how your own chart is working or how your client's chart is working will be really quite fascinating. So good luck with all your rectification work. Okay, this is bye-bye from me.